Tadej Pogacar throwing blows at Vingegaard, but why wouldn't the Dane cooperate and work with him? Paris-Nice, we are so lucky to have these two titans going head-to-head in good shape, although we have some good sprinters here. The Belgian champion Tim Merlier, De Lee, Bennett, Demar, Coy, Pedersen, you name it. But Pogacar and Vingegaard with the big show. And if you want to watch live racing, the best place is GCN Plus. You can get 15% off an annual pass through my link down below. We've got Paris-Nice, Tirreno Adriatico this week, jam-packed. Territory restrictions do apply. But first stage of Paris-Nice looks like a straightforward sprint stage, right? You're wrong. Paris-Nice is always tricky, and we have a 500 meter 12% climb, 20Ks from the finish, as well as a 1.5K 5% climb with 6 bonus seconds on it, like 8Ks from the finish. I reckon everyone thought this was Tadej Pogacar sitting next to Vingegaard because of all the winter gear when they're taking photos. Breakaway, 140 with 80Ks to go. It was Lotto for De Lee, De Koenig for Merlier, and Albertson for Groves pacing. Jumbo-Visma, UAE, they got to sit in the wheels for most of the day, conserving their energy before the big run-in. And the lead-out started over 10Ks before that first 500-meter 12% climb. You see Pogacar moving up in the gutter. Jumbo-Visma with Vingegaard on the right. Powers is here for EF. He's had a great start to the season in France, and he's an extremely punchy rider, but you got to be in front because through these narrow towns, so much road furniture crashes can occur. UAE, though, I thought they were going to Jumbo-Visma like Jumbo-Visma did in Paris Stage 1 last year. They entered this climb in brilliant position, UAE, with Wellens and Trentin. Jumbo were on the inside of the corner, so they had to yield to UAE. Demar's up there. Merlier's in good position. Ineos with two are just bit behind, and this is these climbs with these narrow run-ins and then people launching it. It's all about where you start the climb. Like Yates, Simon Felipe didn't start in good position, so it doesn't matter how much power you have, you are going to miss the split. But I was surprised that UAE didn't launch it themselves. Pogacar kind of followed Powers because Powers went, but Vingegaard's blocked by his own team, so he can't react. And it's actually Arnaud Demar on Pogacar's wheel, incredibly strong on this climb. But I think Pogacar, if he launched with Powless here and they'd cooperated, they go away, and it would have been interesting to see what would have happened. But Demar's able to stay in the wheel. Pogacar he stopped, and then when Powless accelerated again, he's like, I'll follow you anyway. And no one really knows what to do here because there's a sprinter that entered the climb in good position like a Demar, but then he's only got his GC guy, Guru, and David Guru ain't pulling for Arnaud Demar. And then you got Trek with Skelmoser, GC guy, and Pedersen, but Skelmoser's not going to get on the front. Borod, don't know if Merlier's in the group, but also they're tired. So with no one really taking control, it's like a in-between all-rounder like Turgis who accelerates, and Palace again in great shape. I think Jorgensen on his wheel. Bora eventually realizes, well, they've got Bennett in the group and Merlier's dropped, and it's actually Pogacar in the group behind. There was a split, who I think it's him trying to get across to this move. There's another UAE rider in Group 1, and it's Pogacar just ahead of this group with Vingegaard sitting in the wheel. So there's a lot of screenshots to try and explain a lot of why this is happening in this really complicated, fast situation, but tricky and dangerous moment for Vingegaard in this race with being isolated in a group this big. He's having to follow Pogacar here. He's trying to slip into a move with Bora pacing, but Quickstep aren't working with it because they got Merlier behind, so they're blocking with Schmidt. Skelmoser's trying to get on the radio to find out what to do. And if you pause for 30 seconds, a minute to go to the car, who are on delay on TV, trying to watch on an iPad in the car, what do we do? What do we do? Eventually, moves like this come back with Harper pacing for Jayco, and Ineos have been pacing, so maybe Martinez split it. And so Powerless counterattacks from that move, which was being brought back in fantastic shape. Can't wait to see how he goes on the punchy stage. Trek pacing for Pedersen, who's a big candidate to win this stage. Ineos just keeping Martinez in good position. Jumbo now take the ascendancy into this second climb, which has 6 bonus seconds on the top of it. And we know that Pogacar is a faster sprinter than Vingegaard. So how will Jumbo approach it? They don't really launch it because they got Coy in the group too. So they got a sprinter that they want to nurse over the climb as well. They got Tratnik here, Van Hooydonk, Affini, Trentin, and Oliveira lead out Pogacar. And Tratnik he gets unlucky. He looks back to see Vingegaard. And I don't know if he was trying to lead him out or whether he was trying to jump ahead of Trentin and make Pogacar chase him. But he goes the long way around, and Trentin pulls off, giving Pogacar the quick inside line. And so Pogacar's able to sprint almost immediately onto Tratnik's wheel through this sweeping bend, Vingegaard on his wheel, and then Tratnik's basically giving Pogacar a lead out. And you know what happens here. Pierre de Latour puts up a worthy fight. GC Godon might be alive. I had to cut some out because Pogacar can sprint for so long. And Pogacar's like, you know what? Got Vingegaard off the back. Let's have some fun. Let's put him under pressure. Let's go, Pierre. It's payback time. And unfortunately for him, Vingegaard's able to bridge across. Jumbo would have paced in the group behind us. Only 5.5 Ks left, but the climb just wasn't hard enough. Quickstep had Cavagna, Lampard, Seneschal all lined up. It wasn't as decisive as that climb that Jumbo launched it on last year. And why isn't Vingegaard working? Well, first of all, the main reason is because if they go clear, Pogacar's going to win the sprint. He's going to lose more bonus seconds. But the plausible deniability and the second legitimate reason as well is he's got Coy in the group behind. So he's not going to win the stage. He's got a guy who could win the stage behind that they are going for this stage. And Pogacar sees the group's chasing them, pulls up stumps. It was worth trying. Jonas is like, hey, I would have worked with you. I would have. And Pogacar's like, nah, maybe. Maybe you wouldn't have. And they all come back. It's so cool to see this on a cold, not ordinary sprint stage. Quick-step takeover. Cavagna, then Lampard, Schmid behind him, Schkelmoser. He's really fast for a small guy. We've seen that in a lot of the French non-World Tour races. Lampard takes over 1,200 meters to go, and we have a technical last kilometer. You need to be first 10 wheels into it. Unfortunately for Deli and Lotto, he is not. He is deep here on the right-hand side. Merlier is up in about 6th wheel, 5th wheel, with 3 quick-step riders ahead of him. So really, there's only about 2.5 lead-up men left. I think it might be Kirsch that Schkelmers is trying to flick here. Schkelmers is like, guys, I've been on the front already way too long. I'm a GC rider. And Kirsch is not really a natural final man. He's more of a third-last man, setup man to me. And unfortunately for Schkelmoser and for Trek and for everybody else, he gets in between Merlier and Seneschal. And so Merlier knows with 600 meters to go, well, he's way too close to the front. So now Schkelmoser hits everybody with the double flick through, like, please somebody take this wheel. I'm about to lose it when Seneschal kicks. But Merlier ain't going to take that wheel. Merlier doesn't want to be second wheel with 600 meters to go. So he lets the wheel go. And that forces Danny Van Poppel with Bennett in the wheel to jump ahead. Merlier doesn't make the mistake of going too early and ruining his own sprint. He just now has to get in onto a wheel somewhere. The bend helps him get ahead of Pedersen, but Coy fights him off the Bennett's wheel, which is where they both want to be. Van Poppel, unbelievable lead out once again, drops Bennett off with 175 meters to go. But Merlier is just too fast. We saw it in UAE Tour twice. One of them was an unbelievably good sprint. Deli comes from Narnia to finish very, very fast. Pedersen just not quite as quick as these guys. He needs a harder stage overall. But Tim Merlier staking a pretty strong claim. Not better to go to the Tour de France this year instead of Fabio Jakobsen, based on the evidence we've seen so far. But a really interesting first stage. Could be crosswinds tomorrow. Merlier winning ahead of Bennett, Pedersen, Coy, Deli, Matthews, Coquard, Garcia, Cortina, Groves, and Demar. But I hope you enjoyed the video. Go and check out the Lanterne Rouge Cycling Podcast for our coverage of Tirreno Adriatico this week. That kicks off tomorrow, but I'll see you with Paris-Nice Stage 2 next. Ciao.